Hey friends, Barky Dog here, back with another review of Christmas classics. As you can tell from the title of this video, this time around we're taking a look at the Grinch himself and how the Grinch stole Christmas. Now, I don't know about you, but as the years go by, I find myself more and more in sympathy with the Grinch. I mean, think about it. There he is, just chilling on the top of Mount Crumpet, minding his own business, trying to enjoy the view and the solitude over his morning cup of coffee, but can he? No. Why? Because those damn Who's are singing with their Fabu Dores and everything and blowing their flugel hooters and wum trumpets and all of that. They were driving him nuts. And so the Grinch decided to put a stop to these crappy, noisy, thoughtless neighbors of his, so he tried to ruin their Christmas. I mean, the Grinch was driven to it. The Who's are the villains here. The Grinch is the real victim. But of course, nobody calls someone a Who, do they? No. You want a quiet, peaceful Christmas, you get called a Grinch. Well, at least the Grinch got a free meal out of it at the end. I hope he enjoyed the roast beast anyway. Damn Who's. Now, we all know the story of how a sourpuss Grinch living on Mount Crumpet with his poor put-upon dog Max decides to steal Christmas from the happy Who's in Whoville, only to discover that the real meaning of Christmas doesn't come from a store or decorations or roast beast or any of that. How the Grinch Stole Christmas began as a standalone children's book by Dr. Seuss in 1957. At this point in his career, Dr. Seuss, real name Theodore Geisel, had already scored hits with The Cat in the Hat and Horton Hears a Who. The new book about the Grinch was an instant winner as well and gained almost universal praise from critics and the public. When released at Christmas in 1957 in both book and magazine format, it became an instant bestseller. As is usually the case, this led to a television adaptation. In 1966, the legendary Chuck Jones directed the TV special We Know and Love, which still airs every year and is still a ratings winner even in the digital age. The great Boris Karloff narrates the story, the album of which earned Karloff a Grammy in the spoken word category. Believe it or not, this was Karloff's only major award for a performance in his long and storied career. And we have Thurl Ravenscroft along as well, and he sings the theme song to the special. He wasn't credited in the special, leading people to think that Karloff sang the song. Now, he'd be cool just for being named Thurl Ravenscroft, but he was also the voice of Tony the Tiger and did a lot of work on Disney projects, among many other things, so his voice is still very familiar even today. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Man, I couldn't get my voice down that low if I took an elevator into a gold mine. But we all know about this one, right? No need to go on and on about it. It's a great holiday classic, and it led to other books and specials featuring the Grinch, chief among which is Halloween is Grinch Night, a story that has nothing to do with Halloween, and Halloween isn't even mentioned in the story at all, just in the title, since this was released as a Halloween special in 1977. Karloff had passed away by then, so Hans Conried, another familiar Hollywood actor with a great voice, stepped in and was an excellent choice to narrate the story. Ravenscroft sings some songs too. It's okay, the special got an Emmy, but Honestly, it's not as good as the Christmas special. They also imbue the Grinch with magic powers in this one, which he didn't have before. Here he scares the Who's on Grinch Night, which is ostensibly Halloween. Then in 1982, the Grinch obtained a car and tangled with the Cat in the Hat in the Grinch Grinches the Cat in the Hat. Mason Adams, the Smucker's Jam guy who voiced their commercials and played Lou Grant's boss on the Lou Grant TV show, he does the narration. Bob Holt is the voice of the Grinch. This one's okay, but not as good as the Halloween special or the Christmas special. But let's get back to Christmas. Now, we all know that having a bona fide classic beloved by several generations of people doesn't stop Hollywood from trying to squeeze more blood out of a stone. So, next up we have the live-action version of the story from 2000. This one was directed by Ron Howard and starred the frantically zany Jim Carrey as the Grinch. Now, fair warning, if you don't like Jim Carrey and didn't care for him in Ace Ventura or The Mask, or you didn't like him as the Riddler, you're not going to like this movie. Carrey is at 110% power in this one, and like the Riddler and all the rest, it's a great over-the-top performance by a master showman. It really is. In this one, we have the same basic story, but it's padded way out to a running time of almost 2 hours. The cartoon only needed half an hour, by the way. In the movie, Cindy Lou Who is prominently featured throughout, much more than the book or the animated cartoon. And they give the Grinch a big backstory to explain why he's a Grinch and hates the Who's. I don't know if they had to do that, but they did. Basically, long story short, the Grinch was an orphan and he got picked on in school, and that made him mean. This one has a touch of raunchy humor, not much, just some hints here and there. The movie was a big hit too, but all did not go smoothly on this one. Carrey felt very constricted in the heavy Grinch makeup, and it made the poor guy miserable. And he took that out on the makeup artists. He got so hard to deal with that the lead makeup person quit the film over it and had to be coaxed back. Then he pretty much quit Hollywood altogether after the movie was finished, and he blames Jim Carrey for making the experience that rotten. But you gotta have a little sympathy for Jim Carrey. The heavy makeup took hours to put on, and the yellow contact lenses he had to wear were very painful. Despite it all, Carrey turned in a memorable performance as the Grinch. He really is in top form in this one. The movie features a lot of practical effects and makeups and real sets, and Max the dog is real, not CGI. So I appreciate that. The whole thing was a major undertaking, and at the end of the day, I think they did right by the Grinch and the story. It does feel a bit long, though. They could have cut maybe 10 or 15 minutes out of it, and it would still be a good picture. Now, let's take a look at the latest version, a CGI animated effort from 2008 called The Grinch. This stars Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch. He does an American accent here, so he isn't very recognizable. Angela Lansbury shows the flag as the mayor of Whoville. She doesn't do much more, sadly. Rashida Jones is the voice of Cindy Lou Who's single mother, and Cameron Seeley is Cindy Lou. And again, Cindy Lou has a very prominent role in this, and in this one, the Grinch is likable. No, really. He's not really mean. Okay, he does a few mean things, but at heart he isn't mean at all, just kind of lonely. and he treats this dog a lot better than other Grinches have. Can't complain there. He's actually a likable character. You kind of root for him too, and the sequence of stealing Christmas from Whoville is great, and the Grinch shows off his flair for invention. I loved his candy cane grappler. It's all very imaginative and a breath of fresh air. Again, as with the 2000 live action effort, there's a backstory to show why the Grinch is mean. Basically, he's an orphan and was all alone at Christmas, and it made him unhappy. To be fair, I think this backstory works better than the live action one. It's shorter too. There are a few things that I think are minor drawbacks to this one. First, they added some hippity-hop songs to the soundtrack which seem out of place, and I kinda hated them. The other music is good, and Danny Elfman was the composer, so there's that. Second, Pharrell Williams is the narrator. Now, he's fine. Kind of reminds me of a young LeVar Burton doing Reading Rainbow, but I don't think he was the right choice for this. This is the one role in The Grinch that requires some age, and Williams just sounds too young and wide-eyed to pull it off. I'd rather they'd just used Angela Lansbury here, or found another older voice for it. Think Karloff or Hans Conried, who did the Halloween special. They fit perfectly. Williams doesn't. He'd be good at other narration work, just not this. But hey, those things are not a deal breaker. I've got to say, I loved this movie. It was such a pleasant surprise. The jokes were good, the gags were funny, the animation is phenomenal, the picture is bright and colorful. We get to understand the Grinch in a way we never have before. Good cast, even the running time is about right. I think they made a good picture. So to sum up, the original deserves a viewing for sure this Christmas. It's a classic for a reason. 4 paws there. The Jim Carrey movie? Liked that too, and I appreciated the effort put in by all concerned. That's at least a 3 1/4 paw picture, definitely worth a watch. And The Grinch from 2018? Man, I love that too. I'll go out on a limb here and give it 3 1/2 paws. Again, a great effort, and they did something new with classic material without making Ghostbusters 2016 or Disney Star Wars out of it. So there you have it, The Grinch. You take care, and I'll see you in the next one.